God dang. Oh, it's over. Oh, no. It's over. CTRM's done. No, it's not done. What are you thinking, guys? I'm telling you, don't worry, don't worry. We've got some good stuff to talk about here today. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Trades. We get technical analysis in different stocks in the stock market, as well as potential buy, hold, or sell opinions on these given stocks. I like to preface by saying that I'm not a financial advisor nor expert, so take what I say with a grain of salt. Let's get into the video here today. We're going to be looking at ticker symbol CTRM up here in the top left of your screen. Castor Maritime. This is a stock that I've been talking about since it was trading at about 35 cents or so. It has had an absolutely beautiful run, tested out about $2, and has had a little bit of a sell-off here the last couple days. So I've been asked to cover this video the stock in a video here, so we are going to be doing that for you today. We're going to get the fundamentals of the company, the why should you care, why is there upside here, why could it continue to grow, as well as some recent news catalysts. There hasn't been anything new that's come out here in the past couple of days, but we'll do a very quick recap regarding what the company is, what they do, the vessel acquisition, right, and then the meat and potatoes, which is the 1 month chart and the 1 day chart to give both the macroscopic and microscopic perspective of the overall price action. I've got a couple different indicators pulled up, right? The RSI, which is the relative strength index. Anything over 70 is overbought, anything under 30 is oversold. This is an idea of both bullish and bearish momentum on a stock. I have the 200 EMA, which is the exponential moving average, and the 15-day MA, which is the moving average, up here as well. The 200 EMA is the exponential moving average. This is a price action-based valuation trend line over a 200-day moving period, which gives us a macroscopic perspective of the overall price action. Then I have the 15-day MA, which is the moving average. Some brokerage accounts call this the SMA, the simple moving average. They're one and the same. This is a price action-based valuation trend line over a 15-day moving period, which gives us a microscopic perspective of overall price action. We use these side by side to get a consensus of upcoming break-ups or breakdowns, right, so that we can predict the upcoming moves on a stock. So we're going to look at that, look at some potential levels of support or resistance, entry points, retracements with the Fibonacci retracement tool, so we get an idea of overall strength of the chart setup. We've got a lot to talk about here today, so let's get into the video, my friends. So what is the company? What do they do? What is the why? Castor Maritime Incorporated is a Cyprus-based company. The company is engaged in the ocean transportation of dry bulk cargoes worldwide through the ownership and operation of bulk carrier vessels. It also aims to increase its fleet through acquisitions of new and modern vessels. You can think of this as an Uber Eats, right? The Uber Eats of sea. They're transporting, food across the ocean. As they continue to acquire new vessels, right, this is going to allow them to create more revenue. It is basically like an investment, like a doctor would go to med school, right? So they can create more income throughout time, right? But first they put themselves in debt. They have to spend a little bit of money to make some money. So that's the place that right now CTRM is sitting at. They're spending money trying to acquire new vessels so that down the road they can set themselves up for success to, have these seaborne transportation of dry bulk cargo, right? And that is going to really help set them up for success in the future. Now, if we just take a quick peek at what this company does, right? I do have this pulled up for you really quick. Castor Maritime, we are committed to promoting honest and ethical business conduct throughout our operations. It's Castor, it's shipping, it's magic. We are a growth-oriented global shipping company engaged in the seaborne transportation of a wide range of dry bulk commodities along worldwide shipping routes through our ownership of dry bulk vessels. So they were established in 2017, IPO'd as Castor, entered into the NASDAQ as CTRM. They acquired a couple different boats in 2019, September, October, August of 2020, October of 2020, and then October of 2020 as well. And they do have two more, vessels that they did acquire here. They're making me sign up for a stupid Seeking Alpha, commission or subscription. But essentially all this is talking about is they acquired 2 new vessels for $27.2 million. This is posted on February 12th, which was 4 days ago. And if we do just check out the price action here on February 12th, you can see that it was a pretty trading sideways day, which is surprising. You'd think you'd see a little more price action come to fruition because of this. But nonetheless, they have been very proactive in the growth of their company. And I do see some good long-term potential in the sense of that. Now, one thing that does catch my eye is this. The total overall short interest and short volume ratio on CTRM is very high. So there is a little bit of squeeze potential here, right? So we see 57.7 million in total short volume on February 12th. We haven't gotten the numbers here for today. I'm going to refresh this quick just to see if they have popped up. And they have not yet, which was 29% short volume ratio compared to the overall market volume of just under 200 million total shares. In comparison to the previous days, it is down a little bit, right? We have seen it higher, but nonetheless, that is still an extremely high number. So just keep that in the back of your mind. And another thing that I find very interesting is the short borrow fee rate, very high. That is a very high interest rate that is accrued annually, right? So that's not a daily interest rate, that is an annual interest rate, but nonetheless, that is a very high number. So the longer the shorts hold their positions, the more they have to pay back, which gives them incentive to cover in a sooner time period. So keep that in the back of your mind. I am going to pull up Ortex right here just to take a quick peek at what we can see here in terms of CTRM short interest data on this website. I do pay about $500 a year to get the most up-to-date information, and check this out. That's nasty. Current utilization, 100%. That's a huge freaking number. And what does this mean? Utilization is the ratio between the number of shares on a loan across all outstanding loans in the wholesale market and the number of shares available for lending at lending programs. 0% means that no shares have been borrowed or lent at these lending programs. 100% means that all shares available to borrow or lend at a lending program have in fact been lent, which means there are 0 available, utilizable, lendable, short freaking shares. That's so nasty, guys. That's insane. That's insane. The days to cover is currently pretty low. It's sitting at about 0.34. So it has dropped off here significantly, which means that it is easier for the shorts to cover their positions as of now. That days to cover does not mean that they have to cover in 0.34 days. It actually means the lower the number of days to cover, the more of short territory this is in. But nonetheless, you can see that they're playing with fire right now. That is a high utilization rate. So there is potential here for a squeeze. We have 55.21 million shares out on loan, which is a little bit lower than we saw 7 days ago, but the percentage of free float on loan is 10.88%, which is not very high. That is not a very high percent free float on loan. So, some pretty interesting data here saying that there could be some potential in the short term for a good squeeze. One thing that I don't particularly like, I do want to be transparent with everybody, is the institutional ownership. We see 17 institutional owners, which only makes up 1.19% of the total outstanding shares on the company. So that's not a very significant number. That's not a lot. If we just take a quick peek here, maybe this isn't up to date. I would be guessing that number isn't right, because that doesn't quite add up to what I'm seeing down here. What we do see right here is the 13G filings, right? So we can see that CVI Investments, as of today, took a pretty hefty stake of about 5% of the company. I'm just guessing that number's not correct. So I'm actually happy to see this. Today we see 6.67 million total shares were bought by CVI Investments. On the 12th, we saw 1.12 million, about 1% of the total makeup. And then on the 9th, we see Hudson Bay Capital took 10% stake in the company. We got 10% stake from Intracoastal. We've got almost 10% stake from Empri, right? So this is a pretty decent little makeup. If I had to do some quick math, that's 30% here. We'll call that 35, 40, 45, 47, about 47%, if these numbers are correct. Of course, this is all just as of February or so. So, this is also including 2020. So take that with a grain of salt. But at the very least, we can consider this 2021 data to most likely be relevant. And that's a pretty significant amount of short, I shouldn't say short interest, but institutional ownership. So I do think that number is not quite correct. I think that you're going to see that end up being updated here. But that's some pretty significant institutional ownership, which could signify, right? You want to follow the big money. You want to follow where institutions are putting their money, that there is potential here for a midterm to long-term play. So I actually like that a lot. I was going to say I didn't like that because I didn't look at these numbers down here yet. I thought it was 1.19%, but that's a big stake in the company, my friends. So very significant data that you do want to pay attention to. So what are we looking at right now in terms of the chart setup? Well, we have this nice ascending level of support. We did run up to about $2. If you were able to get into the stock, as I mentioned before, back when I brought it up on the channel, you'd be sitting up absolutely dirty, filthy right now. Basically what we saw happen, I'm just going to adjust this level of ascending support. We saw a clean upward moving channel, right? We see this respective level of support. We always look for at least 3 touch points to signify a respective level of support. We ended up breaking that down with a wide range candle, as you can see here, right? We get this wide range candle breaking beneath that, trading sideways a little bit, but we do see that it does seem to have found a bottom. That is a long wick. Typically, long wicks indicate weak selling pressure, right? So there was a bad day in terms of, coming back down from previous highs, but nonetheless, there are signs that there are some strong buyers still sitting here on the stock. And something very significant is the overall volume. The volume tells you a lot. The psychology of the charts can tell you a lot. The stock moved down a lot in price with not a lot of volume, which to me indicates there are a lot of people still holding their position in CTRM, which to me tells me this is an investor's stock and not necessarily a trader's stock. So I do think that there is more opportunity here as a hold, right? If you want to take advantage of this time when it has bled off a little bit, this is the time to buy. It is sitting at about 40 on the RSI right now. If you buy into this at about $1.30, I think it's going to treat you pretty well. I genuinely do. So that's a pretty solid buying opportunity. I really hope nobody sold down here to $1.15 because I did bounce back from that pretty much immediately afterwards. You never want to sell out when a stock is being oversold. As traders, we're the only people on the planet that will buy something overvalued and sell something undervalued, right? So we don't want to do that. We want to buy on the dips and sell on the rips, right? So that was an opportunity to load the boat on CTRM. We know what we hold. We know they've got great potential. Now we know the institutional ownership is high. We know they've been acquiring new vessels, right? So there's a lot of good things here, especially that short interest in the short term. That does say to me that there could be a good potential for a squeeze with 100% utilization. Very, very high. Very good potential for a quick short-term run. So that looks absolutely beautiful. I do think now is a good time to buy into the stock at about $1.30. Big gap here between the 15 MA and the 200 MA. This has been very, very bullish. Been on an absolute rampage run. The volume has been nice and consistent. Down a little bit here on the red days, which I don't mind seeing. I don't mind seeing the volume down on a red day because that to me indicates that there are still people holding the stock. And with the utilization rate so high, this is going to be hard to short. This is going to be very, very hard to short. In fact, I think when the numbers come out, basically shorts were playing with all the utilizable lendable shares that were available. Basically, and that's why the interest rate is so high, right? Because the utilization rate is so high. 24% is a very high annual interest rate. They're playing with fire. They're trying to really recover some of these losses and drive the price back down. And I think they're going to get burned. So I feel very comfortable with this as an entry point on CTRM. Going to look here at the 1 day, 1 minute chart for any last minute confirmations. Going to delete all this stuff. If you want to check it out, rewind the video and check it out there. Had a pretty barcode-ish day, which typically does come with a little less volume as we did see. So had that harsh sell-off to about $1.15, nice little bounce back. And the rest of the day we traded pretty much sideways. We are up a little bit higher here in the after hours to about $1.34. I think that would be, just kidding, down about 4% here in the after hours. But nonetheless, I don't see it dropping much lower than that. I think the $1.30 is going to be the best possible entry point here. And it does line up pretty well with the level of support that we do have here on the charts. So $1.30 does look like a good entry point. 15 MA is trading underneath the 200 MA right now, microscopically speaking. So we're about 50-50 in terms of bullish and bullish confirmation on the macroscopic and microscopic charts. But it very well could easily, go back above that 200 EMA. All it would take is a little bit of volume, and you would absolutely see this be back in bullish territory within a moment's notice. At this current time, this could go either way. This could very easily go either way, back into bullish or bearish territory. But since the macroscopic trend is bullish, we are more inclined to believe that it will go back into that bullish territory, considering the previous trends. One last thing that I do want to pull up right here is the Fibonacci retracement. And in terms of retracement, any stock that retraces 50% or less shows good buying presence, buying pressure, right? We do see that it did that. It did a perfect retracement to about 50%, excluding the wicks. We don't include wicks in retracement, right? So it is sitting at about $1.31 at that retracement line, which to me indicates this is some nice, good strength on the charts, and there is a lot more room to run with CTRM. That is what I have for the video today, my friends. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like. It really does help support the channel, and consider subscribing if you'd like to see more content like this. Lastly, I have an affiliate link in the description box down below for Webull. This is version 4 for the desktop. Absolutely great platform that allows you to start trading at 4 a.m. in the pre-market. If you use my link, you get 2 free stocks with a $100 deposit. I receive a free stock. Great way to support the channel, my friends, and if you're not interested, that is totally fine. I also have a link to the merch store down below in the description box if you'd like to pick up some cool stuff. If not, that is cool too. That was what I have for the video today, guys. Thank you for watching, my friends, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.